Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, your ultimate destination for chilling, spine-tingling tales of the undead. Tonight, we have a story unlike anything you've heard before. A cursed Nutcracker springs to life, leading a battle against an army of zombie toy soldiers in a magical Christmas kingdom. It's a twist on a classic holiday tale, but with a dark, horrifying edge. Before we dive in, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you never miss an eerie new adventure from our channel. And if you enjoy this story, don't forget to share it with your friends. After all, everyone needs a good scare this holiday season. We also love to hear from you, so drop us a comment below and let us know what you think of the story. Your feedback helps us grow and improve, so feel free to tell us how we can make the Zombie Story Zone even better. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for the Nutcracker of the Undead, where nightmares come to life in the most unexpected way.
From the graveyards to the streets, hear the whispers low. Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show.
In a small, quiet village nestled beneath snow-capped mountains, the arrival of Christmas was always met with excitement. The streets sparkled with lights, and children eagerly awaited the festivities. Yet, this year would be different. This year, an ancient curse was about to awaken. It was Christmas Eve when it began. The Langford family had gathered for their annual celebration in their grand, ivy-clad home. The children, Ivy and her younger brother Noah, huddled around the fireplace, their eyes wide as they listened to their grandfather, Harold Langford, tell stories of the old days. "Grandfather," Ivy asked, tugging at his sleeve. "Tell us about the Nutcracker again." Her grandfather smiled, his eyes twinkling behind wire-rimmed glasses. He reached over to the mantel, where a beautiful old Nutcracker stood, a carved wooden soldier with intricate paintwork, his jaws poised as though ready to snap. It had been passed down through generations. "This Nutcracker," Harold began, "has a dark history. It's not just any toy. Many years ago, it was part of a cursed collection that was meant to protect a magical kingdom. But one fateful night, when the soldiers were betrayed, the curse turned them all to the undead. Ever since, it has remained dormant in our family. But be careful, my dears. The curse may one day awaken." Noah, who was only 6, giggled. "Grandpa, you're just telling stories." Harold chuckled softly. "Perhaps, but sometimes, stories are more than they seem." Ivy stared at the Nutcracker, intrigued but unnerved. The intricate detail in its face seemed almost lifelike, and for a moment, she thought she saw its eyes shift. That night, as the family sat down for Christmas dinner, an unusual chill crept through the house. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows. The Nutcracker, which had stood silently on the mantel for years, began to twitch. Its wooden jaw creaked. Then, with a sickening snap, the Nutcracker's mouth opened wide. "The curse awakes." Ivy was the first to notice. Her eyes widened and her voice trembled as she pointed. "Grandfather, look. The Nutcracker." Everyone turned to where the toy stood, now glaring down at them with lifeless, bloodshot eyes. Its wooden arms shifted, stiff and unnatural, and its legs jerked, as though it were trying to move. Harold Langford's expression turned grim. "The curse that's real," he whispered. Suddenly, there was a loud bang from the attic. The family froze. Another bang echoed, followed by the unmistakable sound of marching. A hollow, metallic clatter of boots on wood filled the air, as though an army was advancing. The door to the attic burst open, and with a terrifying screech, an army of toy soldiers spilled out, wooden, grotesque, and decaying. Their paint was chipped, their bodies cracked, and their eyes glowed with an eerie green light. They were no longer toys. They were undead. Ivy screamed. Her heart pounded as the army of zombie toy soldiers, each one standing over 5 feet tall, began marching into the living room. Their movements were jerky, as if controlled by some dark force. Their mouths hung open, and their wooden fingers clutched rusted bayonets. The Nutcracker, now fully animated, stepped forward, leading the charge. His voice, though wooden and hollow, rang with authority. "The kingdom calls. You have awakened me, and now you must face the consequences." Harold grabbed his grandchildren, pulling them away from the advancing army. "Run," he yelled. "I'll hold them off. Go." Ivy and Noah, still frozen in fear, needed no further encouragement. They bolted for the door, but the Nutcracker raised his wooden arm, blocking their escape. "You are not leaving. Not until the curse is fulfilled," he declared in a voice that sent chills down their spines. The battle for the kingdom. The house became a battleground. Ivy and Noah scrambled, finding shelter behind furniture and anything they could use to hide. Their grandfather fought bravely, wielding a silver candlestick like a sword, but the toy soldiers were relentless. The Nutcracker, now fully animated, stood at the forefront, his eyes glowing with the same green fire that burned in the soldiers. "I will not let you escape," the Nutcracker growled. Ivy clutched Noah's hand tightly, whispering, "We need to stop them, somehow." "How?" Noah asked, his voice quivering. "I don't know, but I think there's something about the Nutcracker. We need to find a way to break the curse." Suddenly, a memory surfaced in Ivy's mind, something her grandfather had said. The Nutcracker wasn't just any toy, it was part of a cursed collection designed to protect a magical kingdom. That kingdom, however, had fallen to the undead. But why? Why had they come here? Ivy's eyes darted around the room. She spotted something unusual, the old, dusty music box on the table. Her grandfather had always kept it in the family for years. Could this be connected? "I think I know what we need to do," Ivy said urgently. "Noah, come on." The two siblings ran to the table, pushing past the wreckage as the Nutcracker advanced. Ivy grabbed the music box and yanked it open. A soft, haunting melody filled the room. The Nutcracker froze. "That's it!" Ivy shouted. "The music! It's the key!" But the Nutcracker's undead soldiers didn't hesitate. They rushed at them with terrifying speed. "Play it!" Noah screamed. Ivy quickly wound the key of the music box, and as the first notes played, the undead soldiers faltered. The music seemed to pierce through the curse that had bound them. Ivy watched in disbelief as their once lifeless forms began to twitch and jerk. The Nutcracker's expression twisted in fury. "No!" he screamed. The melody grew louder, and with each passing second, the soldiers weakened. Their wooden limbs cracked and splintered, and their bodies crumbled to dust. The Nutcracker, too, seemed to lose its strength, its wooden form cracking as if it were made of fragile glass. "Why?" he gasped, his voice weakening. "Why do you destroy your own creation?" Ivy's hands trembled as she held the music box. "Because you're not meant to be alive," she whispered. "You were never meant to bring death." With a final, desperate scream, the Nutcracker collapsed to the ground, shattering into a pile of broken wood and twisted metal. The last of the soldiers crumbled away, their hollow eyes dimming as they fell to the floor. The aftermath. As the dust settled, the room was eerily silent. Ivy and Noah stood motionless, eyes wide with disbelief. The music box had stopped playing, and the house had returned to its once peaceful state. The remnants of the undead army lay scattered around them, their cursed forms reduced to nothing but dust. Harold Langford, breathing heavily, emerged from behind the shattered furniture. His face was pale, but his eyes were full of relief. "You did it," he said, his voice hoarse. "You broke the curse." Ivy looked down at the music box in her hands, its lid now closed. "I didn't. We didn't do it. The music did." Her grandfather nodded. "Yes. The music holds the power to break the curse. It's part of the ancient magic. But it's not over. The curse was just dormant, waiting to awaken. Now that it's broken, the magic is free. We'll have to protect the kingdom, but you've done what none before could do. You've destroyed the undead army and freed the Nutcracker." Ivy and Noah exchanged a glance, still trying to comprehend what had just transpired. "You're both very brave," Harold continued. "But remember this, some stories are not just stories. And sometimes, the past never truly stays buried." As the night wore on, the snow outside settled, and the house grew calm once more. But Ivy couldn't shake the feeling that the kingdom her grandfather had spoken of was not yet truly free. There would always be more battles ahead. The undead army may have been destroyed, but the curse would never fully be gone. As she sat by the fireplace, staring at the remnants of the Nutcracker on the floor, Ivy vowed that she would never forget what had happened that Christmas Eve. And whatever came next, she would face it with the same courage she had found in herself tonight. Epilogue. Years later, Ivy would return to the old house with her children, passing on the legend of the cursed Nutcracker. Though the undead soldiers had long been defeated, she knew that the dark magic that had once held them in thrall was still waiting, dormant in the shadows. The Nutcracker, now displayed in a place of honor, would always remind her of the night when stories became reality and of the price that was paid for every magic and curse that lingered in the world.
Fight or flight will unite as the horror unfolds in the zombie story zone adventure. Yeah.